Welcome everyone to the channel. We got Miles here. Him and I are going to be talking about our top 5 favorite best written characters in Attack on Titan. We just finished it recently, and we've been caught up with season 4 as the episodes have been coming out. So, Miles, would you like to start us off with your number 5 best written character in your opinion? Because my list is definitely super.
All right. In my humble opinion, I believe that Commander Erwin is the 5th best written character in Attack on Titan. I think this because, well, I don't want this to sound like an essay, but his dream is possibly the most fleshed out reason for a character to have an action prior to season 4. So prior to Eren and prior to Reiner's backstory getting completely fleshed out, I feel like his dream was easily probably the most reasonable reason for him to be doing what he's doing. And I think he's one of the most selfish characters, but his sacrifice at the end really just tied his whole character together because his whole goal throughout the entire story was to pretty much find the basement, find out what his dad was trying to say. And it's pretty weird because the closest that
Eren's
he was
dad.
doing it was the end that was when he died. So
Right. I mean, he's definitely a very deep and tragic character, like pretty much all characters. But
all the characters in Attack on Titan are
if you
sad.
haven't seen yet, there will be spoilers to this video,
Oh
so
yeah.
might be a little too late for that. All right,
Uh-oh.
my number 5 is going to be um right here. I have Grisha Yeager, but
Risha Yeager. All right, what
I
is your reason
honestly,
for that, Mr. Jack?
I might have changed this up a little bit. But okay, I got some notes here. So, number one, I mean, he really connects the whole story and like the backstory and everything that goes on in Marley, the Eldians, and just basically anything beyond Paradise and how Eren got the Attack Titan. And like, he basically just drives the entire story from the Marleyan side because they think that the people in Paradise are devils because pretty much of Grisha Yeager because he was the one who stole the founding Titan. He was the one that brought it back, and he's the one that kind of restored the hope in the Paradise people. I mean, he sacrificed himself, as we know. Sorry. I mean, he somehow escaped the fate of like the Eldians and Marley. I mean, he's got a dark past. I think the reason I don't have him higher on this list is because I don't think he himself is written incredibly well. I think his contribution to the story is written the best out of anyone ever.
Yeah,
Not
he's essentially the
ever, but
catalyst for the entire story. Without
yeah,
him, the whole story would just not exist. So
I
having him
agree.
on this list is definitely very important. He's in my honorable mentions.
Okay, okay. All right, number 4.
I have my girl Ymir.
Yes, sir.
she's she's got to be top 5 because her backstory with Historia was, I don't want to say the best backstory, but it was, or not, it's not really a backstory, but just the memories and stuff with Historia was really really fleshed out, and it really just showed how great their relationship was because it's really one of the best in all of Attack on Titan, those two. And she literally preaches living for herself. She's like, Historia, don't change your name back to whatever the original one, or go by your original name and live for yourself. And she's never able to do that because she's always trying to live for Historia. And the only
All right.
time that she lives for herself is at the end when she actually sacrifices herself. So
This
I
is
just
true.
think,
I never really took that into consideration. I think that's a great like hidden piece of writing that they did.
yeah,
Yeah, I have Ymir in my honorable mention. She is not on my list actually. She is one of my favorite characters though. She'd probably be in my top 5.
yeah.
All right. My number 4 is Kenny Ackerman. I know this might be a controversial take. You and me both think that he's wildly underrated.
I do.
Um, I mean, his whole backstory with the Reese family is very intertwined with Levi and Mikasa and the Ackermans in general, and I think he connects the story to a large extent. His development before his death in season 3 is it might be on the quicker side, but I think it's a very very well fleshed out character, and how when we first are introduced to him, he's just like villainous guy. We don't really know what he did to Levi, but we know he did some fucked up shit to him and like wasn't great. But when we really dive into it, we realize that like he gave him a home and kind of taught him like what he knows today, even if it was a sort of a tough love situation. But I think like let's get it.
Oh, well, I was gonna say that I really do agree with the Kenny choice.
Okay.
He's extremely underrated, and I think we did see what he did to Levi. He like put him in the sewer, or not the sewers, the like underground place, and taught
Yeah,
him.
like he raised him like in an
Uh,
underground like black market type of
yeah,
place.
he was like, and also his last speech where he's like, everyone is drunk on something is super powerful in my opinion.
I agree.
Like where he was like, you have to be drunk on money or whatever. Power was what he was drunk on, and that eventually led him to his death.
No, yeah, I agree. I think he's kind of a rebellious character against like the society and the military police. Kind of, I guess. There's a lot of other characters I
He's
can't
also
really name
really
any right now.
cool.
Yeah, I think when you get to know him more, he's a more enjoyable character. Yeah.
No,
All right,
I love Kenny.
I do too.
Number
All right,
3,
number
I
3.
got one of my favorite characters. It's Armin.
All
Now
righty.
I
Oh,
think
all
that
right,
Armin.
I have him too. So I mean, we can kind of converse on this one.
All right, I think Armin. This is definitely an unpopular opinion, but I think through because we are not caught up with the manga through through season 4, episode 5, Armin
Which is
has
where
the
we are right
best.
now.
Yeah, he has the best character arc out of anyone in the entire show, in my opinion. I think that when he started off as a little, as a like scrawny little kid, and the parallel of him being the colossal titan is actually brilliant. It's
Yeah,
like
it's pretty ironic.
he goes from the smartest, like least strong kid to probably the strongest, like pure fighter in the entire show. And
Yeah,
I think that's super smart. And also he's the smartest character, and I love smart characters. I think that they're better than powerful characters in my opinion, because it allows it to show like their like when they're in a fight. Like early Armin, he would never really be able to like out like strength. That doesn't make sense. He would never be able to fight a Titan like one on one, but he'd come up with like all the plans on how to beat them. He was just a genius character, and he's just an overall goat. I love Armin.
yeah. I mean, he isn't necessarily like the smart like in the anime universe. Like, there's so many smarter people, but like
Yeah.
in that universe, he's definitely the most. I'd say he's the biggest asset that the scouts have. I feel like at that age, like I mean, Aaron, he's got the Titan. Like he goes crazy. Mikasa, she's a good fighter, but I feel like Armin really, especially now that he's got the claws of Titan, I feel like now he's definitely their biggest asset.
There's a
I feel
reason Levi chose him over Irwin.
Erwin. This is true. At that time, I was pissed off. I'm not gonna lie, but like as time went on, I was like, all right, you know what? They made the right decision.
You gotta respect Armin. And his dream
Cool.
is also amazing. Trying to see the ocean. Well, we can
Yeah.
talk about that later with my number 1 character.
Ooh, okay. All right. I just want to like yeah, I was just gonna say that I think if you draw the comparison between when he was literally being bullied in like the first minute of episode 1 to like having to being saved by Eren and Mikasa to saving them, pretty much saving everyone else
Yeah.
by sacrificing
Their
himself.
their like dynamic is crazy because Armin is so like self-conscious of his like own skills, and he's always the one like self-deprecating on himself, saying that he can't do anything. But Mikasa and Eren, they're the ones that have the most trust in Armin when Armin has no trust in himself at all. And it's just
Yeah,
another great written part of his character.
I agree. I agree. We also don't have Mikasa on this list. I don't, at least not for me.
I did not have Mikasa on this list.
Yeah, I mean, she's cool. Like, she's all right, but yeah, she's not very well written, especially compared to some other female characters.
I agree.
All right. Should we go number 2?
Yep. For number 2, I have my favorite character in the whole show, and that is Reiner. And I think that Reiner is the ultimate foil to Eren's character. I think that's pretty obvious to anyone watching the show. he's pretty much the anti-Aaron, but
He
I feel
it's
like,
very apparent in these latest couple of episodes.
yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like after we got his Marleyan backstory, in my opinion, I know this might be crazy, but I feel like he's more of a protagonist than
I would agree.
Aaron is currently in the show. And I think that his character development is also great. I would say almost tied with Armin. Very close though. I think like how he was as a little kid, he was always like the worst in the entire Titan program. He was
The
always
Eldian
Yeah, he
warriors,
was
okay.
always worse than everyone else. And then he goes to Paradise, and he
Hmm.
becomes the second best fighter. And he's not really looked up upon in Marley, because remember when what's his name, the Jaw Titan kid, that died on their way to,
Oh,
I forget
Pog,
his name.
Pal. I don't
No,
know.
Pac is the current Jaw Titan.
Oh,
I
Marcel.
Marcel. When Marcel died, he was like, "No, guys, we're not going back. I know our leader died, but I'll become the leader." And then he became respected by Annie and Bert, and then he also became respected by the Scouts when he really wasn't respected in Marley.
My number two is Aaron Yeager, and then we have flip flopped positions here. But I would say that I think Aaron will become a more developed character and a better written character than Reiner. But as of now, we just got Reiner's like whole character arc, and that's pretty much what season 4 is the comparison between Reiner and Aaron and their differences. Like I think I think we're going to see here that Aaron has become like a more serious and way more mature character than we saw back in season 1 when he's just screaming and yelling. And I
I
think
agree.
yeah, we do see that through the first 3 seasons, but I don't, especially at this 4-year time skip. I think we're gonna definitely get that to an exponentially greater extent.
I 100% agree with everything you just said.
Yeah. All right. Before we explain why we have flip flop answers, should we go to honorable mentions?
Sure. I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
So my 10th favorite or best written character is Historia. Basically, I think she's really cool. The fact that she became the queen after she wasn't really confident in her true self, because she's technically like, besides Rod, she's like technically the royal person, so she pretty much stepped into a role that goes along with her name, like using her true name, using her true like family. I think that's pretty good. I think that makes her a really good character. 9, I
Yeah.
got Gene. His character arc in the first season is wildly underrated. Gene is low key a great character. Grisha,
I think because it's just so minor. I think if he became a more
yeah,
inclusive character later on, then it would be respected more. But like, I mean, he's not
he doesn't
really.
really have a big part after season 1. I just think he's underrated, and I like Gene.
Yeah.
Number 8, for the same reasons that Jack said, Grisha is like the catalyst for the entire story. Obviously, he's got to be on this list. Zeke is my number 7. I think that his whole philosophy is very, very interesting as well. Like up there with the likes of Erwin. And I think that what he's trying to do, like he's just a blind soldier for Marley, is pretty interesting because you get to see like what the Marlians are trying to do. I guess you get a through Zeke, you get a clearer picture of what their whole plan is. I think that's pretty good. I also like his Titan. I love the Beast Titan.
Yeah, I think the Beast Titan is definitely my favorite Titan. I think his introduction in season 2 was just so menacing. Like when you first heard that he could talk, it was like it was mind boggling. And then I mean, it wasn't really a fight with Levi, but that was still incredibly entertaining.
It was a killing, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a slaughter.
And then my last honorable mention is Levi himself. I just think he's super cool. His backstory is actually pretty deep for the type of character he is. He was pretty abused and not really neglected as a kid. then he became one of the most like looked up people, not look respected
Honored,
people, I
like
should say.
respected, yeah.
Yeah, in the entire island. So I think that's a pretty good writing right there. And I think just love Levi. Everyone loves Levi.
Yeah, how can you not? Um, yeah, all right. So those are some honorable mentions. I didn't get any to write down, but I would definitely say Zeke Irwin, Levi were definitely in there, and then probably Historia and Ymir as well.
Hmm.
So, would you like to explain why you think Aaron is a better written character than Reiner as of now?
I would love to explain myself. And he is the main character of the entire show, so we are going to see well, close with Reiner. We're going to see the most of what he's internally thinking, and I think that's very important when discussing the best written character. Just the amount that you get from him. Because we do get the most of like stuff from him. So we get to see pretty much what he's thinking. And throughout the show, I've seen this comparison a bunch of times, but we see him lose his smile, and that's very important because throughout the first season, Aaron was a pretty happy guy, thinking about like, or he wasn't happy, but he was full of hope, thinking that after he defeated all of the Titans, like their whole problems would be saved. He would be like the best Titan fighter of all time. He would avenge his mom, like he would save Paradise. Uh, he would become this great person, right? But
Yeah,
after realizing the truth, after seeing the basement, Aaron's character just steps it up like a whole lot. And this is what I was trying to talk about with like the dream and the beach and everything. At like the last scene of the third season is Aaron like looking out at the waves like with just despair. He's saying, there's no freedom. Armin's like, yes, there's freedom, Aaron. Look, it's the ocean. And he's saying there's no freedom, and that's just how you know. Because he was so certain that after he would beat the big titans, save the walls, that there would be freedom. But now we realize that there's not, and that's where we currently are at in the story.
yeah. I think the exact quote is like, even if we reach the other side, will we be free? Which is a great dialogue, just like in general. Like if you really, like it's a parallel to a lot of stuff that happened in history. Um, I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, I think it really shows his maturity and his growth throughout the story. I agree. I mean, I think Reiner as of now is better, just because this backstory that we got just in these couple episodes from Marley is fantastic. Because even with his like performance in Paradise, like he's still a complicated character. Even like after we know that he's um he's a Titan and he's from Marley and stuff. But now that we actually have his, let's see what I wrote down. I mean, he like now that we see his Marley backstory, we really get to dive deep into his mind and how he misses the days where he like didn't know the truth. Like you can see a lot of the time
Yeah.
he sees Annie, Barrett, and Marcel in Falco and Gabby and them. And he clearly regrets what he did. He like literally got on his knees for Aaron. Like he clearly is just suffering so much from this because he knows that it was his fault that they kept moving and killed all of these people and killed Aaron's mom, etc.
Yeah.
So I think just diving deep into that my state of mind of Reiner is the best writing performance.
I also think his mixed personality, or what do you call it, multiple personalities, is very interesting because when
Like,
he's like he has this two different personalities. Like one when he's the Marleyan soldier, and that came out, and the other one when he's the scout, and that came out like when he was telling Aaron, and what I think is possibly the best moment of the entire show, when he tells Aaron that he's the colossal titan. He really, really, really wants to find the most correct way that hurts the least amount of people. And I think that's very interesting.
okay, sorry everyone, we had some technical difficulties. But yeah, I think we were talking about Reiner's multiple personalities. Like the difference between his stoic, like big physical personality on parodies was way different than Marley, and he just seems so soft and so like innocent, like depressed on Marley and Marley. So I think that difference is pretty pretty massive and just a large difference.
I don't know if we said this already, but I think we might have. But he really I think he sees himself in Falco. Because Falco is always taking the L to Gabby. Like, remember when he beat Gabby in like a race or something and everyone went crazy? Like,
Yeah.
he's literally or Falco is literally pretty much the Reiner of that group. And I think that is very cool. And that's why I think Reiner got so like sad when he saw that Eren like Falco led him to Eren, because he realized like Falco was just a naive kid, kind of like he was, and he was just trying to do what the best thing to do is for Marley, when he was just when it was actually the wrong thing to do. And I think
When he was being finessed
yeah,
and was being finagled.
finagled indeed.
Yeah, bro. All right. I think that's it for our list. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Like always, you already know.
Whose list
Thank
was
you guys.
better?
What's that?
Let us know whose list was better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will put all the plugs down in the description. My Twitter. I have a podcast on Spotify that Miles was on once, but I'll get him on a little bit more. Instagram, all that good stuff. So thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all later. Peace out.